The storming of the Bastille on July 14, 1789, marks a pivotal moment in the history of France and the world. This dramatic event ignited the French Revolution, leading to the monarchy's eventual downfall and the French Republic's rise. The Bastille, a medieval fortress and prison, symbolized the absolute power of the monarchy and the oppression of the people. In this video, we will explore the storming of the Bastille in detail, examining its causes, the events of the day, and its aftermath. This comprehensive dive will provide a deeper understanding of why this event remains a powerful symbol of liberty and revolution. In the late 18th century, France was a nation in turmoil. The country faced significant economic challenges, including crippling debt from involvement in wars such as the American Revolution. The lavish spending of King Louis XV and his predecessors exacerbated the financial crisis. Additionally, the rigid social structure divided the population into three estates: the clergy, First Estate, the nobility, Second Estate, and the commoners, Third Estate. The Third Estate, which comprised the vast majority of the population, was heavily taxed and had little political power. The Enlightenment, an intellectual movement emphasizing reason, individualism, and equality, was gaining momentum across Europe. Philosophers like Voltaire, Rousseau, and Montesquieu criticized the absolute monarchy and advocated for democratic reforms. These ideas resonated deeply with the oppressed Third Estate, fueling their desire for change. King Louis XV called for the Estates General to convene on May 5, 1789, to address the financial crisis and placate widespread discontent. This assembly, composed of representatives from the three estates, had not been convened since 1614. The Third Estate, frustrated with their lack of representation and power, demanded that voting be conducted by head count rather than by estate, which would give them greater influence. When their demands were not met, the representatives of the Third Estate took a bold step. On June 17, 1789, they declared themselves the National Assembly, asserting their right to represent the people of France. This act was a direct challenge to the authority of the king and the existing political order. The National Assembly's resolve was further solidified on June 20, 1789, when its members took the tennis court oath, vowing not to disband until they had drafted a new constitution for France. Historians see this as the truly revolutionary act. The king didn't recognize how severe the situation was. Jacques Necker, the popular finance minister, was one of the few government officials sympathetic to the plight of the common people. His dismissal by King Louis XVI on July 11, 1789, was perceived as a direct threat to the reformist cause and sparked widespread outrage among Parisians. This event is often seen as the final straw that led to the storming of the Bastille. On July 12, 1789, journalist and revolutionary Camille Desmoulins delivered a passionate speech at the Palais Royal, urging Parisians to take up arms. Desmoulins' call to action galvanized the populace, leading to increased unrest and the mobilization of revolutionary forces. On the morning of July 14, 1789, an armed mob stormed the Hôtel des Invalides, a military hospital and retirement home for veterans. They seized over 28,000 muskets and cannons but lacked gunpowder. The next target was the Bastille, where they believed gunpowder was stored. They didn't attack to destroy a symbol of the monarchy, but in search of weapons and munition. By midday, a large crowd had gathered outside the Bastille. The fortress, overseen by Governor Bernard-René Delaunay, was defended by a small garrison of Swiss guards and invalides, veteran soldiers. Negotiations between the revolutionaries and Delaunay quickly broke down, leading to a standoff. At approximately 1:30 p.m., the crowd forced their way into the outer courtyard. The tension escalated, and by mid-afternoon, the revolutionaries, now armed with the cannons from the Hôtel des Invalides, began their assault on the fortress. After several hours of intense fighting, Delaunay realized that further resistance was futile. At around 5:30 p.m., he surrendered the Bastille to the revolutionaries. The fall of the Bastille resulted in the deaths of around 100 revolutionaries and a few defenders. Delaunay and several of his officers were captured and eventually killed by the mob, even so they were promised their lives and their liberty. The revolutionaries freed the 7 prisoners held in the Bastille, although none were significant political prisoners. The storming of the Bastille had immense symbolic significance. Although the fortress held few prisoners and little strategic value, its fall represented the collapse of royal authority and the power of the people to effect change. News of the Bastille's fall spread rapidly, igniting revolutionary fervor across France. King Louis XVI initially underestimated the gravity of the situation. Upon hearing of the Bastille's fall, he reportedly asked, "Is it a revolt?" To which the Duke of La Rochefoucauld-Liancourt famously replied, "No, sire, it is a revolution." Faced with mounting pressure, Louis XVI was forced to recognize the National Assembly and recall Necker to appease the revolutionaries. Famous is the story of him writing the French word "ri" for nothing into his diary. Over time, this was used as a proof how out of touch the king was. In reality, it was a hunting diary, and there was no hunt on July 14th due to the situation. Let's talk about the long-term impact. The storming of the Bastille triggered a wave of panic and violence known as the Great Fear. Peasants across the countryside, fearing retaliation from the nobility, attacked manors and destroyed feudal records. This period of chaos further weakened the feudal system and accelerated the push for reform. On August 26, 1789, the National Assembly adopted the Declaration of the Rights of Man and of the Citizen, a foundational document of the French Revolution. Inspired by Enlightenment ideals, the Declaration proclaimed the equality of all men and the inalienable rights of liberty, property, security, and resistance to oppression. On July 14, 1790, the first anniversary of the storming of the Bastille, France celebrated the Fête de la Fédération. This grand festival commemorated the unity of the French people and their commitment to the principles of the Revolution. The event featured a mass at the Champ de Mars, attended by King Louis XVI, Queen Marie Antoinette, and thousands of citizens. Today, July 14th is celebrated as Bastille Day, La Fête Nationale, in France. It is a national holiday that commemorates the storming of the Bastille and the spirit of revolution. Festivities include parades, fireworks, and parties, reflecting the enduring legacy of this historic event. The Bastille itself was demolished shortly after its fall, and today, the Place de la Bastille stands in its place. A column, the July column, Colonne de Juillet, now commemorates the events of the July Revolution of 1830, but the site remains a powerful symbol of the French Revolution. The storming of the Bastille inspired revolutionary movements worldwide. The principles of liberty, equality, and fraternity, championed by the French Revolution, influenced numerous struggles for independence and democratic reforms in Europe, Latin America, and beyond. The storming of the Bastille was not just a dramatic moment in French history, but a turning point that reshaped the nation and the world. It marked the beginning of a revolution that would dismantle the old order and lay the groundwork for modern democratic principles. The event's legacy lives on, reminding us of the power of the people to challenge oppression and fight for a better future.